Hi, and welcome back to Whiskey, Tea, and Flowers. I'm James. Excited to have you back. Today, I want to share something with you that is very special to me. It actually brings back a lot of great memories I had when I studied in Japan as a college student, and that is milk tea. In particular, I'm going to be talking to you today about this product. Recently had these shipped to me from Japan, and wow, it just evokes this nostalgia, which I always appreciate. So this is Coca Kaden. It's actually a Coca-Cola product, believe it or not. And it's something that I was introduced to way back in my junior year when I studied for 1 year. So back in 2000, 2001. What I love about this is, how do I describe it? In Japan, of course, you have your traditional teas, right? We've gone through your green teas, you've got your variations of the green teas. You've also got black tea, but in that black tea subset is also a popular culture of vending machine tea, and a lot of times that comes down to milk tea. So this is a black tea with infused with Japanese milk. And what I love about it is that unlike your traditional greens, or unlike your other traditional teas, this is just a really good casual on the go experience. And that's what I think of oftentimes. So walking to my campus and I'd stop by a vending machine and grab one of these. Yeah, and just really enjoyed it. As far as the taste profile, it's very full bodied. The milk really does a lot for it. It has a subtle sweetness and aroma to it that is just really pleasing and inviting. You can enjoy it hot or cold. I prefer to enjoy it chilled. I find that when I warm it up, oftentimes it tastes a little thin, and whereas at cold temperature, the milk really seems to shine through, come through, if you will. So I did manage to get a number of these, and it's simply an occasion when you break one of these open. I've already had a fair share of them, so now I'm just trying to slow down. So I'm going to show you next just what the profile looks like when you pour this, and understand that while this may come across as something uncommon, it's actually not. Milk tea is something that is very popular in Europe, particularly in the UK, where you have a lot of culture around tea. Additionally, in Asia, you have milk tea. So it's not uncommon, if you will. It is uncommon here in North America, in the US, Canada, you name it, but it is not anything new to tea culture. So this particular product, as I mentioned earlier, it is a Coca-Cola product. It's a very subtle, rich aroma that I would say appeals to some of everyone. As for me, I enjoy this typically at breakfast or even on the go at lunch, and always for the most part chilled. I mean, I will warm it up from time to time, put it in the microwave for a few minutes. But again, there's just something about that taste profile after it's warmed up that's not quite as fulfilling, if you will, when it's at a nice cold temperature. There are other brands out there in Japan too. So this one is one of the two major ones. The other one that is out there is by a company called Kirin. Kirin is a Japanese beverage manufacturer that's been around for a very long time. So introduced by Coca-Cola actually back in 1992. Coca-Cola does have some other brands of tea, but for me, this truly is my go-to. If you've watched for any length of time, you know that I prefer my loose leaf teas when I'm having my tea experience. So a lot of times that's what I'll gravitate to. And I like to support, small vendors, farms, different things like that. And that oftentimes is where I will pull my product from. But when I'm talking about a finished, ready to go, on the go beverage, oftentimes I will reach for something like this. It is simply amazing and simply an experience. One thing I will do, I'm actually going to try and recreate this as best as I can, using, of course, black tea that I already have in loose leaf form with some variations of milk. going to kind of mix it up a little bit. So it has a very distinct Japanese milk taste, because I know that here in the U.S. the pasteurization process is different from Japan, and that will impact your taste a little bit as far as milk. So you'll have a subtle difference, if you will, some subtle nuances captured here that you may not be able to fully replicate when using domestically sourced U.S. milk. So, but that I will save for another episode, and I'm really excited about it because I really do want to get to a point where I can replicate this and not have to pay a pretty penny to import them from Japan, because they can get a little expensive, even with the exchange rate working out in your favor, if you will. So anyway, let's look at this a little bit. Just going to analyze it here quickly. So the character, I mean, it's obviously all Japanese bottling. Coca kaden, so that is tea, or in this case, black tea, if you can see it. And then it just says royal milk tea below, from 100% domestically sourced milk. And this is a 440 ml bottle. Oftentimes you'll come across 500 ml, and so I was a little surprised that, they're kind of taking it down a little bit, because 500 ml tends to be your go-to size for beverages of this caliber. So Coca-Cola positions it as, appealing to a wide audience of people. Again, those who are on the go, just want a quick pick me up, if you will, and maybe they're not in the mood for coffee. They just want something a little bit more subtle, but not as much kick to it. And this just hits it right on the head. The other brand is a brand, like I mentioned, also called Kirin. That was actually the first milk tea I ever tasted as a college student. But over time, I've come to find that while the two of them go head to head, I often will gravitate towards this, because what I like about the Coca-Cola Royal Milk Tea is there's a bit more full body flavor that comes from the milk here. The Kirin is still good. I still appreciate Kirin. And theirs is called go-go tea, which simply means afternoon tea. However, what I love about this, again, is just that full-bodied experience. And that is something that, try as I may, I don't always experience with Kirin, but I can always rely on this to deliver that taste. So, with that said, I've already got another one opened up. I'm going to save this one since it's unopened. I'm going to place it right here. And I'm just going to taste this one on the go. Got my trusty fan here. I'm going to just taste this one on the go. Shake it up a little bit. As you can see, already opened. All right, here we go. So, smell profile. Again, it's got a very warm aroma infused in it, and it's sweet. It's a subtle fruit. I want to say the infused pear, if I'm not mistaken, but it's very subtle, and it's right there on the tip of your nose. So, from that standpoint, I mean, beautiful fragrance, very aromatic. And as far as the taste itself, I mean, on the tongue, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's full. It's, for me, from a preference standpoint, I love this tremendously. I myself, when I look to replicate this, I will likely put a little bit more milk. And so from that standpoint, then it's like, well, what does that look like, right? Because when I think of like your 2%, like whole milk, of course, is just very, very thick and creamy. So it'll be very interesting in experimenting when it comes time to reproduce this. So again, the body's there, the taste is there. A subtle sweetness that's not too sweet, which I can appreciate. Because more than anything, you want to experience the tea. You want to experience the flavor profile. You want to experience what went into it, right? And sugar oftentimes will kind of take away from that. because your mind and your taste buds kind of focus on the sweetness as opposed to the flavor of the tea. And as far as you know, what I would pair this with, as I mentioned earlier, I look at, say, breakfast, I look at on the go, or I just look at, storing in your backpack, to consume throughout the day, to enjoy throughout the day, if you will. You can warm it up, different strokes for different folks. And as I mentioned, I prefer myself to just have it chilled. There's just something about the milk when it's chilled that just seems to taste better. So, with that said, I will continue to import these. I look forward to visiting Japan later this year, where at that time I will certainly buy a number of these. In the meantime, I will also work on reproducing it. Thank you as always for being part of the journey. I really do enjoy doing this. I'm looking to continue to focus on these three things: whiskey, tea, and flowers. And yeah, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your feedback. If you've had royal milk tea before, please, by all means, share it. And if you got any questions, by all means, please do reach out. I'm always excited to share my background, my love for tea, my budding love for whiskey, and my love for plants and flowers. With that said, as always, I'm James. Thank you so much for being part of this experience. Have an amazing full-bodied day. This has been a presentation on Coca Royal Milk Tea. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now. 上品な甘さ。